I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me.
I know we are really trying to reach out to the public and get them involved in this land use process. And that came about, in one of the genesis of that was that, for many, many years, developers would come to the table with their proposals.
Right.
The community would react, and
Right.
almost always negatively.
Right.
So we wanted to turn
Flip
that
it around.
process on its
Yes.
head
Yeah.
and ask people what they want to see.
Yes.
So how are we gathering the input of the communities?
We started trying to get general principles of the town, and what we,
You did a Brookhaven Bucks. I know you were
yes,
at
Brookhaven Bucks, right, at the town fair.
You were at the town fair.
Yes.
People enjoyed that.
Absolutely, in the town fair, that worked very, very well.
Uh-huh.
People want to get in and out, quick feedback.
Sure.
People know what they want.
So they only had so much money they could spend. Right?
Yeah, basically, the way this worked, we had 16 categories and, basically 4 major sections: built environment, infrastructure, transportation, environment, and then subclassifications of that. People basically had, I think it was $800, and they could basically only had $800. They sort of simulating what it's like to be, supervisor fully, delegating dollars, into needed areas. And at the end of the day, the number one thing that people valued was really the water-based, the environmental
Sure.
resources.
Yes.
But we also found some very interesting things. Main streets, transit-oriented development. Those were very, very close, second and thirds behind some of the major key defining environmental areas. And so that is really formed from that time, and I think you can see it in all the documentation and the way that we went with that. We had 2 specialty components that you never see in a comprehensive plan, the way that we formed them. The ECOS process, which is environmental, cultural, and open space resources, mapping, and issue identification. And basically, at the end of the day, to create a map, a constraint and sensitive lands map
Okay.
that we would use then to evaluate the
Where
development
development
patterns.
is not going to
Was
occur.
not going to occur.
Right,
And then
okay.
the other component of this outreach process was a development patterns process. And that was to really, share our assessment of the development patterns in the town, how they're really impacting the traffic, transportation system, the environmental impacts, the air quality impacts. And so at the end of the day, the idea was, we heard what people said, really focus on, protecting those cherished things. And then let's provide land use patterns that people enjoy, they recognize as being positive. And so, we got a lot of corridors that could be main streets, with Montauk highways, right
Sure,
for,
sure,
that sort of 25 days, a little bit higher.
I think
hurdle
one of the
for rural.
things that many
Yeah.
people enjoy when we're talking about, the process of outreach was the visual preference survey.
Right.
And that is a series of slides where people get to rate. I really like this type of development,
Right.
or I like this scene here, or I really do not like
Right.
it. And we had actually brought the visual preference survey after you had gone around to the different council districts. We brought it into Longwood High School, trying to get the input of a demographic that usually doesn't come out and
Right.
participate. So it's very interesting.
The demographic that's going to be most impacted by this plan.
By the end,
Yes.
and the demographic that's going to be most
Yes.
impacted. Yes.
Well, maybe I can provide a little bit more simplicity to the outreach process, because we really started out getting these goals. We had a sort of town-wide in town hall to get these large scale goals, get some of the issues and opportunities, and we developed a booklet out of that whole initial outreach process. And the idea was, let's not get totally on the ground here. Let's really find out what are the major issues and what are people see as the major struggles and goals and concerns and wants of the town, and then using that provide the framework then to start to look at the environmental issues first. It's a tantamount concern of the town. And then building upon that, we developed a constraints map that said these are the areas that the town, that the people of the town want to protect. You know, that they really cherish, they want to protect. There must be some sort of you know, constraints on them, and we call that ecos constraints mapping. And that includes pine barrens, it includes some of the receiving area development patterns workshop that you already described, where we wanted to identify what types of places do people want to live in, you know, and it's surprising because a lot of the places that people pick that they want to live in are not necessarily present in the majority of the town, but they are represented in some of those special places, like the Bellports, like the Port Jeffersons, like the Setauquets.
So we want to give, actually I had the Diane Mazarakis and Eric Alexander from Vision Long Island in here, and one of the points that Eric made is we want to provide people with choices.
Yep.
You know, there is a segment of the population that really would like to live, and you mentioned young people, seniors in the mixed-use communities where they can walk, where they have things to do very close, where the transportation is accessible. And this provides them with the choice. We're not taking away the other choices.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. It's preserving those choices and supplementing with. Absolutely. I think that's a very important point to make.
Now, do people still have the opportunity to get involved?
Oh, absolutely. One of the key places to get involved is at the website, www.brookhaven2030.org. There's a place for comments that would get directly sent to Kevin and myself. There's also an opportunity to take the visual preference survey.
Oh, really?
Which is really
online?
Online.
Really?
So we have the entire survey online. We've gotten a lot of people.
And that's fun. People enjoy that.
People really, I think.
And the results get updated immediately.
Exactly. On
Wow.
the homepage of the website, we have the 4 top ranking photos right now and the 4 lowest ranking photos. But it's constantly updated as people take it.
Wow.
So it's a really great opportunity to show what you'd like the town to look like.
Great.
So that's a great one. Comments, and then also we have the charrette.
Well, that's the bookend too. Okay. During this summer, and I would suggest anybody who has an opportunity to view this Coffee with Connie, you know, let Connie or members of town staff, if you have an event where you would like either members of the consultant team or representatives from town planning staff to come out and talk to your group about Brookhaven 2030 and get your ideas. We would really appreciate any opportunity to either go to community organizations, you know, special interest groups, and or provide you with any information that you need to help you understand Brookhaven 2030 more on the ground. And I offer that out as an open invitation.
And then the charrette you were
yes,
talking
the
about,
charrette.
that's a more intensive.
Well, that's actually a unique part of this comp plan. Okay, because you would never see, except in very rare circumstances, what a charrette in a comprehensive planning process. And
usually you see them in the smaller vision.
Master plan. Exactly. Yeah, like a lower level master plan that's derivative of a comprehensive plan. And the reason why we felt it's important, and one of the things that people ought to understand, is that a comprehensive plan is a legal document, meaning it actually has a legal basis in the state statutes by which zoning must be concurrent with the plan. And if there are disputes or there are zoning changes that are desired, those must have a basis in the comprehensive plan. So, you know, lawyers who maybe work with a development team to try to alter something, you know, if it's not identified in the intent of the plan, then it cannot be done. Now, the problem is that words, as they are very fungible things. They can be moved around, altered, and interpretation is very different. Images are not. And so the idea behind doing a charrette, a townwide charrette, is to actually illustrate some of these development concepts, these nodal growth concepts, this concept of an integrated open space plan is to try to give a visualization of what the intent is. So if we're talking about a hamlet center, if we're talking about a town center, if we're talking about a regional center, what do we mean? You know, set some criterion so people are not surprised at the end about what happens.
Right. All right, you know, this has been a great conversation. We are certainly lucky in the town of Brookhaven to have Urbitron and Kevin and Katie and their whole staff working with us to create the comprehensive land use plan that's going to guide development to 2030 in the town of Brookhaven. So I want to thank Kevin and Katie for joining me here today.
Great. Thank you, Connie.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java Jive and it loves me. coffee and tea, and the Java and me, a cup,